Odeh is there. She's a Palestinian affairs analyst and a former spokesperson for the Palestinian Authority. Nour, good morning to you. Thank you very much for talking to us. Do we know who the Palestinians that the Israelis are going to release will be?
Well, yes, in accordance with Israeli law, Israel has published the names of the Palestinian detainees and prisoners to give a chance to Israeli citizens to submit to the court objections against their release. So that's how Palestinians know those names. They are, as your reporter said, mostly minors. Some prominent women are included, like Isra el-Jaabis, for example, who suffers burns on 60% of her body and has been denied medical treatment and the needed operations. So this would be welcomed news by the Palestinian society at large, not just her family, that she might be released among those in this deal.
Considering the 4 hostages that Hamas has already released, and not only how interested Israeli intelligence will be in what those hostages have to say, the world's media wants to know what their experiences were like. So how important do you think it will be when the world finds out what these hostages that Hamas is about to release will be saying about their time in Gaza? What I'm thinking about here, Nour, is that eventually the two sides will have to talk to each other, right? Whatever comes of that diplomacy, they're going to have to talk. How much will international opinion be affected by what those prisoners who have been held in Gaza have to say about their time there?
I think that's a very important question, Adnan. And we heard from some of the women who were released before. They said that they were well treated, that they received medical aid, they received food, they received all the medicine that they required. And this caused an uproar in Israel. In fact, the spokesperson of the hospital from which one of the released hostages spoke was pushed to resign recently. So I don't know if these hostages would be given a chance to speak, perhaps maybe on their own accord once they're home. But I think public opinion has played a very important role worldwide in telling world leaders who continue to cheer on for this war and to refuse to call for a ceasefire that they don't buy their rotten political goods, basically. The international public is not convinced that killing thousands of children, that killing on an industrial scale, that destroying, decimating the Gaza Strip is the answer to anything. And as you said, ultimately, yes, the only way to have a real solution is to sit down and talk. Wars don't end anything. And negotiation doesn't happen between friends. It happens between enemies. That's how peace is created. I don't think that the conditions are there yet for negotiations. Unfortunately, I don't think Israel feels any pressure to have to let go of the Palestinians it has held captive for 56 years, to let go of its occupation and apartheid. But I think ultimately, if we are to see anything resembling hope for a future of stability and quiet and security for both sides, there will have to be a political horizon. We will have to see something different from what we saw before, too, because that approach also has proven to be very faulty and has failed. But we need to see a political horizon if there is any hope that this horror won't repeat in future years.
No, how concerned are you that Benjamin Netanyahu seems to be a little bit confused about future plans for Gaza in terms of how Israel feels it needs to keep itself secure? He seems to be flip-flopping a bit. Don't know who he's listening to. We don't even know if he's really telling the world exactly what Israel plans to do. But everything he says so far seems to indicate that actually Israel's uncertain about what to do.
Look, I think Netanyahu is clear about what he wants, which is to remain in power for as long as possible, because all experts in Israeli affairs say that this man's political career is pretty much over. It will be over once the war ends. So he needs to kind of build a way back preemptively, if you will. I think deep down, what Netanyahu and the right in Israel want is permanent control of the Gaza Strip, just like they have over the West Bank. I don't think that that is really a secret. We saw documents leaked from the Israeli Ministry of Intelligence talking about the three different scenarios. All of them maintain Israeli control over the Gaza Strip. What I'm really concerned about, though, is not the fact that Netanyahu is leading a far-right government that is very committed to occupation and apartheid. We know that already. What I'm concerned about is the fact that the international reaction hasn't been responsible enough. It hasn't been decisive enough to say that, well, first of all, A, this war is atrocious and war crimes have to stop, and we need a ceasefire. And B, more strategically, that Israel cannot, will not have a say in what happens in Gaza, cannot, will not have military presence or security control over Gaza, and cannot and will not decide the fate of Palestinians there. It will not decide whether the 1.7 million displaced Palestinians in Gaza can return to their homes. The northern Gaza is the most densely populated area of the Gaza Strip. Listening to some of what these Israeli politicians are saying, it seems that they think that they can maintain northern Gaza as scorched earth, as uninhabitable. And when we see them dismantling the health system in the Gaza Strip in general, but certainly more so in the north, it becomes very logical to conclude that they don't want any form of life in northern Gaza. That is a nightmare scenario that I'm concerned that not enough international reaction has been coming about, and quite frankly, it speaks volumes to kind of what the world, what kind of role the international community is playing. They are supporting the Israeli military effort. They're giving Israel weapons. They're giving Israel political protection, but it doesn't seem that the international community itself is clear on how to move forward, is clear on commitment to international law. That terrifies me.
Nour Odeh, thank you, as always. Very much appreciate it.